Okay, it's saying setting up your meeting for YouTube. Let's see. Okay, fantastic. And we're now live on YouTube as well. So warm welcome. We give it 1 more minute for people to join us and to get everything set. Let me also make sure that our co-hosts, Dr. Jones and Dr. Beatrice, are able to unmute themselves. Dr. Jones, Dr. Beatrice, James, can you test if you can unmute yourself? Just let me, hold on. I actually need to change something. All right. I think you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yes.
Yes, we're good. We're good.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, fantastic. All right, so I'm handing over to Dr. Jones and we shall get started. Let me hit the record button as well. And Dr. Beatrice actually will open the session for us. Dr. Beatrice, please go ahead.
Fantastic, fantastic. Oh my goodness. Wow, wow. What an honor to be in the midst of such great people. Wow, you all look great. I mean, I'm looking at all of you, you're radiating with this positive energy. I can see it, I can sense it. I can actually almost breathe it, you know, I can feel it. I can see the smiles going across the board. It's beautiful. Actually, now I see why Dr. Annette is always shining. Now I see the secret here. Wow, wow, wow. I'm really humbled. And by the way, I want to let you know that you actually do have the best mentor, the best teacher, the best leader, and the best sister in Dr. Annette. Yay! I am telling you, I do really appreciate her passion and her enthusiasm and her love for Africa. A kind, loving heart that is able to accommodate all of us, including myself, James over there, Dr. Jones, Wealth First Africa at large. So who am I? My name's Dr. Beatrice Lucose. You can see them. That's my beautiful name. And in the whole house, I seem to be sharing the last name with somebody on the other side of the screen. So that tells a little bit about us. We are not together, maybe because of COVID, maybe, you never know, maybe we are keeping distance. No, he's just downstairs somewhere. But I'm really honored to be here. I'm the CEO of Wealth First Africa. Most of you already do know about this wonderful movement. And actually, some of you have already participated in the 2-day launch. Yes, that was yesterday. And today was the last day. Some of you have already been networking, organizing meetups, you know, forming alliances, business alliances already using the mobile app. And we have been really honored to see you do that. But guess what? If you have not joined, the doors are still open. And not only for today and tomorrow, for the next 6 good months. So the moment you join, if you join today, you'll have access to the mobile app and all the materials that we have used the last 2 days, including my own free training on multi-million online business program. That's how I call it. It's a program that helps you to start a successful online business in Africa for passive income. So you'll have access to that. Even if you're joining now, you'll have access to Dr. Annette's materials there. Oh my goodness, we do have a lot of her materials there Of course, her books. Some of you have been interacting with her materials already. I know you have done that. So we do have her materials there as well. We do also have James materials there as well. So if you join today or even tomorrow, be rest assured you'll have missed nothing. You'll be able to catch up with the whole program. But for those that have not interacted with the movement, then the question is, what is Wealth First Africa? What is Wealth First Africa, Dr. Beatrice? What is Wealth First Africa? What is this big movement that a humble heart like Dr. Annette has decided to be part of? What is this? I like that silence. As I break this silence, I want to let you know that Wealth First Africa is history in the making. History has been made with the launch of Wealth First Africa. Wealth First Africa is a state-of-the-art virtual platform that seeks to bring together business people across the continent of Africa and the friends of Africa to learn and to network with the aim of exploring the diverse opportunities that are available in the continent of Africa. It's a movement that creates the opportunity of forming strategic alliances across Africa for trade and providing a change in the mindset for most of us, you and myself, providing a change in the mindset and changing the African narrative, strategically focusing from aid to trade. A wise man once said, the best time to plant a tree was 20. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best second time is today. It's today. The best time for Africa to have had a platform that can bring us together with a common goal as Africans, where we forget our differences, we forget our language barriers, and come together as brothers and sisters to unite, innovate, and do business, was many years back. The next best time is today, and that's why we are here. That's why we are here. And I'm so excited to have been joined by wonderful people that I'm going to be introducing, and Dr. Annette herself in this journey. A passion that I have spoken to many people about, and they have said, it is time. It is time. The world is crying for something to unite them. And for Africa, it's time for us to shine. But for me to be able to achieve this goal, I have been working with these wonderful people that I hold so dearly to my heart, because I've organized many events, I've organized many conferences. And let me tell you, it can be a big challenge. But for this particular one, we have been working together as a family. And so when we are talking about Wealth First Africa, we are welcoming you to a family whose leaders are acting as a family. I want to mention Dr. Jones Lukose, who is my best half, but I want to honor him in a special way for his work in the IT arena behind the scenes, working tirelessly to make sure that the system supports this whole mechanism, supports our vision to take us forward from yesterday, today, and the next 6 years, 10 years, 100 years, who knows? I honor you, Dr. Jones. I'm also going, oh, wow, I love that. Can I throw it back? We love you all, we love you, we love you all. Thank you, lovely. Thank you. I love that love heart. We are getting united even as we speak now. We are getting all united. And I have left the last for the best. James G, with his beautiful wife, Agnes. They also have a different mandate as bishops. And growing up, I have learned that a bishop's heart is very close to people, but above all, very close to God. And him and his wife have brought a special strength to this whole conference. And we've been so much honored to work with them to carry forward the mandate of Wealth First Africa. And I'm gonna give him a chance now to say a word or two to the whole group. Tell us a little bit about the way forward for Wealth First Africa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. And karibu sana, James.
Let's give it up for Dr. Beatrice. Let's just give it up for her. That lady is doing a very good job. Actually, she's a queen of communication, a PhD in a lot of stuff there. I mean, the husband has 2 PhDs in computer science. She's a master communicator from Africa, but working for the United Nations. So it's such a privilege to have her. They're very able friends. Well, mine is to introduce Dr. Hannette and to bring her on board. And I want to say just one or two things. I want to say that the African story has been told by other people than Africans, which has been very unfortunate. And when the African story has been told, they picture the bad parts of Africa. But time has come for us to tell our story. And that's why we are here together. It's so nice to see all of you together come here so that we may unite together and bring a difference in Africa. Just to mention, Africa, you know, even compared to places like China, China is like one block. They're using one currency, one block, one kind of authority. Africa, you know, those who colonize us really kind of disunited us or disfranchised us so bad that we don't even trust one another, but that is about to change. I remember in 2008, I spoke on a message entitled, "What's Wrong with Being Black?" You know, because all these bad things happen and all this kind of chaos, you know, tribal crashes, all this mess happens to the Black person. But it's not about color, it's about mindset. And that's why we have a master coach here tonight who is about to come on board and train us. It's about mindset. And one of the things, as Dr. Hannes was teaching today, she says something that she was learned, she was very educated, still had her PhD, but she was very broke. And she decided to change her mindset. She said she went into isolation. And isolation, it was kind of a moment of a metamorphosis for her so that she can go through the change. And when I listened to her this morning, I thought about eagles. Eagles do not flock. Chicken flock, eagles don't flock. You'll never see 100 eagles together or 20 eagles or 15 eagles together. They don't flock. And that just reminds me, like 4 years ago, I was having a conversation with a very good friend of mine that has been my friend for many years. And in the middle of the conversation, I had discovered that we were talking about people for 45 minutes. And I said, I've had these conversations for the last 10 years. I said, this cannot help me pay my bills. It cannot help me build a house for my family. And from that day, I just disconnected from that relationship. Still a very good friend. He's still a great guy, but we don't talk a lot as we used to. And that's how I was able to connect with great mindsets like Dr. Hannette, Dr. Jones, and Dr. Beatrice. What is that? It's a mindset shift. In October this year, I had also to cut off and prune a few more. Why? Just like Dr. Hannette was saying today, it's about isolation. Two more things, and I bring Dr. Harnett on board. When we think about Wealth First Africa, we are looking at, even most of you, I can see so many people in the diaspora right there. But I was so happy to read about a Nigerian company called Paystack that was started by Nigerians who came back to Nigeria from the West after studying, and they started a company. The company grew so big that it was bought for $200 million US. Those are the things that we want to see happen in our continent. Those are the changes that we want to see in our continent happening. We have seen ships full of Africa.
I think we have missed Bishop. Bishop.
Okay.
All right, so let me jump in. I think maybe this is the Kenyan connection, but you know, I think it was a beautiful introduction in any case. And let me jump in. So first of all, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, dear members of the Wealth Fest Africa, a very, very warm welcome to our live session and our live training on how to start a profitable African business in 10 steps. I want to dive pretty much straight into the topic today, but I want to set a very, very quick context to this session. Context number one, I dedicate this training to peace, an end of violence, and the end of suffering everywhere on our continent. And I actually need to be careful not to get emotional when saying that. And many of you know that I'm coming from the Eritrean, Ethiopian, Horn of Africa region. We have been a conflict zone for many years. And the context I want to set here is, yes, I teach business, I teach success. I want you to make money, and I want you to make a lot of money. But I say it as a human and as a humanitarian. I want to see Africa progress and prosper. And that is the context of my teaching. And that is why it is so important that you are here today, because we all have a role to play in that short life of ours. Forget about, you know, buying 5 cars and a big house and, 30 or 50 pairs of shoes. What we want to leave behind when we leave this planet Earth is we want to leave behind a better world for the generations to come, including our own children. So whenever I teach in the context of the betterment of humanity, and we all have our role to play here, and therefore I'm so glad that you're here. Context number 2, I am sending and broadcasting this live from Kigali, so I hope that our African connectivity is not letting us down today. And I'm just going to mute everyone. So bear with me if there's any connectivity problem. I'll be right back in the room. And number 3, let's focus today, switch off all the distraction. I had planned to put up a PowerPoint, but I said today I just want to connect with each of one of you just through a simple talk and training. And we have so often, you know, we are not used to listening anymore and focusing. So let's get this session started in regards to the 10 steps you have to take to start a profitable African business. Now, first of all, can you see me well? Can I get some thumbs up? Can you see me and hear me well before I get started? All right, so number 1, I want to ask you, who is really truly ready to start their African business? Can I get a yes in the chat box here on Zoom? Can I get a yes, I'm ready in YouTube? Who is ready? Let us know. Fantastic. Big yeses here. And that brings us to step number 1. Step number 1, if you want to start a successful, profitable African business, is you have to make an unapologetic decision. I know that many of you are maybe looking for market data and the best business model, and we'll get to that. But it starts with you being the foundation of everything that counts. And I hear a lot of people, oh, this is wonderful. I want to go to Africa one day. Oh, I have big plans. I've been looking into things. But there's a very big difference between wanting to do something or committing yourself unapologetically to do it. So that is the question you have to ask yourself. If you have not started yet, or you have not been successful, or your business has not grown as you wanted to, have you unapologetically decided you will become successful, and have you committed to it? That is the foundation you have to build. And let me quickly tell you what I did when I took an unapologetic decision. And James has touched on it. I went into isolation for 5 years. I went into isolation for 5 years. I cut off everything that would distract me from reaching where I want to be. And let me tell you, where I want to be, or where I am now, is much better than where I was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I was broke and I was broken. Today, I'm living my African dream. I'm financially free, independent. I have hardly worked over the last 2 months since arriving in Kigali, Rwanda, where I'm now living my dream life. And during that 2 months of little work, I've earned more than 99% of Americans. How did I get from broke and broken to becoming financially free? Well, one step, as I said, was that I made an unapologetic decision. Nothing could compete with getting me where I wanted to be, except my children, who were very, very small at that time. So if you ask me how I did it, because I also raised 2 little children full time, and I didn't have house help like I have now in Kigali. So you need to think of what are you filling your day with, and what are you filling your mind with, what are you filling your time with, what are you filling your energy with, and what are you focusing on? And let me tell you, starting a business is not easy, especially in the beginning. Starting a business in the context of Africa is even more complex, and you will understand that in a minute. So you are the driver in that. And you can only achieve it when you make clear that you are focusing 100% on your business, your success, on your dream life, and other things can't compete with it. Be it phone calls from friends, be it social media, be it the news, being chatting with people about things that you cannot change right now. So this is it. This is step 1. Undivided focus, because you made an unapologetic decision. So let me know in the chat box who actually made a really dedicated decision. And as I said, these are 2 different things: wanting to start a business and making a complete unapologetic decision to get there. Let's see. All right, Togo says, I have. Wonderful. Crystal, I have. Ima, I have. All right, fantastic. A lot of you have done so. And, you know, being here is the first step, because others are maybe at this moment chatting with friends or watching the news or browsing through social media, but you have committed your time and your money to be here. For those of you who have also joined WealthFest Africa, okay? So that is the first step. But you need to be aware that this is a very, very important step. The reason why I can now live life in a way that most people are unable to live it is because I have dedicated my energy, my time, my focus towards it. So that is the foundation you need. And you need to check in with you every single day. Otherwise, you may be cheating yourself. All right, so step number 2. Step number 2 for starting a successful, profitable African business is, write it down. You need to align your Africa business model with you and Africa. Let me say it again. You need to align your Africa business model with you and Africa. Now let me explain this. We come up with different business ideas and business models that we think, you know, that's something we would like to start. But very often there is a disalignment between the business model you chose and what your circumstances is. So for example, let's say you're somewhere located in California. And I know we have a lot of you in the diaspora or based in the West or across the world outside of Africa joining us today. So let's say you're based somewhere in California. Now you want to start agricultural production in Botswana. Right? Now guess what? Agricultural production requires that you are on the ground most of the time, especially during the first few years. So now you have a disalignment. You're based in California, your kids may be going to school there, or you're not really ready to uproot your life. However, you chose a business model that requires of you to be on the ground in Africa most of the time. Let me give you another example. You are a student somewhere in Kenya, and you're deciding to manufacture solar refrigeration because you have heard there's a big gap there. Well, the disalignment comes here now that you're a student, an ambitious entrepreneur in the being, but chances are that as a student, you do not have the money, the capital, the investment to start a production site for solar powered refrigerators. There's a disalignment right there. The problem is when we have a disalignment between our circumstances and the business model we choose, we also get a lack of motivation because we see too many hurdles. So one thing that we want to do early is to align our business model. If you are broke or you're operating on a shoestring budget, important is that you choose a business model for Africa that allows you to start on a shoestring budget with little money. And those business models exist. If you are located in California and you want to start a business in Botswana and you're not ready to uproot your family from California, it's important that you look for a business model for Africa that you can manage from California and still do business with Botswana. For example, you could be running a tour agency out of the US into Botswana. Or you could come in as a training consultant 3-4 times a year, traveling into Botswana. There are many business models. You could become a recruitment agency for companies or banks in Botswana or Africa. And you're hiring the talent for the recruitment agency, African recruitment agency in the United States. I have a whole list of these business models, and we can dive into them if you have more questions later on, absolutely. But we have limited time today. Usually, if you're at my boot camps, we spend 16 hours together, okay? We spent 16 hours over 2 days, so I can teach you everything. We have very limited time. We'll cover some more of your questions during the Q&A. But what I want to say is, when you have seen a lack of motivation or progress, it could also be because there is a disalignment between your circumstance and the business model you chose. Important is that you choose a business model for Africa that works for the continent, but it also works for you, bringing down the hurdles. And so it is important that you simplify, simplify, simplify. Okay? That is step number 2 to get you started. Step number 3 then. Step number 3. Choose an industry that is on a high upward trend in Africa. Choose an industry where the infrastructure is already in place, where awareness is already in place, so that you can hop on the wagon and ride the wave. Sometimes we have ideas that require us to put a lot of awareness out there. And while that may be a good thing to do, it is very difficult for you to do that as a single entrepreneur, to get out there, to raise awareness, to change minds, and then hopefully to start offering and selling your product or services. What you want to do instead is to identify the industries that are top trending, such as real estate, just as tourism, agriculture, for example, just to name a few, IT, tech. And then in step number 4, you choose the best market. We have 54 markets in Africa. We don't have one common market. And they are very, very different in terms of business environment and in terms of trending industries. So what is then your ideal market? Your ideal market is where your industry of choice is upward trending. Okay, so you chose an industry because it was upward trending across Africa in general terms, and also because I forgot to say, because that industry is of interest to you. It's maybe where your skill lies, or your passion, your expertise. So now you have selected the industry. How do you then choose the right market? Well, number 1, you identify the markets in Africa where this industry is on a clear upward trend. That's number 1. And how can you do this in very practical terms? Well, you can go on Google, you put in a country of interest. You can put in Kenya, Botswana, Namibia, Ghana, Nigeria, whatever country you have of interest, you put that in, and then you put next to it in the Google search engine, investment promotion center. Okay, all the emerging economies in Africa have an investment promotion center. They have different names. Here in Rwanda is the RDB, Rwandan Development Board. We have Can Invest in Kenya. We have the Uganda Investment Promotion Center. So we have different names for these centers, but they exist in all of the emerging economies. So once you have that, you click on the website of that investment center, and you know what that website of the investment center will give you? It will give you the key investment priorities for the country. And that is a very good guide to see if your particular industry of interest is a key priority for the country that you chose, or maybe you have a few countries on offer. So that is a very good guide to go by. And if your industry is not listed, then you have to either make more inquiries, or it could be that that industry is not a key priority, and therefore it enjoys little policy attention, and it also enjoys little momentum, and you need to possibly change your approach. So what we've just done is taken a reverse approach. Usually people say, okay, I'm going to go for this country. They have a certain country in mind. And then they say, okay, let me just do ABC. No, we want to make informed decisions. That's very important. What has harmed us so far is making emotional decisions. We want to make informed decisions. Right? If you have a certain country in mind, or maybe you are located or living on the continent and you do not have the flexibility that some of us may have as the diaspora to just kind of go where we want, then it's important that you still check with the Investment Promotion Center or with your policy, the policy guidelines in that country. What are the priorities for the country that you're situated in? All right, so that is important to understand. Now, once you have done that, you need to start assessing risks, because frankly, Africa is full of risk. There's good news and there's bad news in this regard. The good news is that, you know, a lot of foreign investors or a lot of investors and business people are staying away from Africa. I remember one of my top American coaches. He's one of the top wealth coaches in the US. And I was sitting in his class because I heavily invested into my self-education. And, he was asking, so what are you focusing on? And I said, business and investment in Africa. And he said, too risky. That's it. He's like, no, Africa, too risky. And that was the end of story of someone who has a lot of money and a lot of resources to invest. Now, that requires, we need to come in to start building our continent. But again, we have to do it in an informed manner. We need to do it with informed decision-making and not emotional one. So how do you assess risk? Again, this is a huge topic that I can say a lot about. I will touch upon it. There are a few of the main risks, okay? There's the risk of corruption, there's the risk of policy changes, and the risk of conflict, just to name a few. There's about 7-8 big risk indicators. And what you want to do is you want to assess how this affects your business. If you go into a country that has high corruption, and then you choose a business model that is very prone to corruption. So for example, in the building sector, you require land, you require permits, you need to import ingredients. You are constantly depending on officers, people in government and people in other businesses to actually make your moves. And that means if you then operate in a country that is high in corruption, and you then seek a business model that is very prone to corruption, such as the construction sector, for example, you have just increased your risk multi-fold as a newcomer. That is the challenge. Most of us are newcomers to business in Africa. So what you want to do instead is to choose either a low risk market, okay, and that actually belongs into number 4, a low risk, high opportunity market, because we have different opportunity and risk levels in African countries. So what you want to go for is a country that is low in risk and high in opportunity. Or if you have a high risk country, or even a country that is generally low in risk, but the corruption factor is very high, then at least come up with a business model that is not prone to corruption. So, for example, it could be a training business. just to give you one example. Agriculture is also not as prone to corruption like construction and mining, for example. So it's very, very important that you then connect a high-risk industry, a high-risk market with a low-risk industry. Okay, but the best chances for you to mitigate risk anywhere in Africa is to go for low-risk, high-opportunity markets. And in these low-risk, high-opportunity markets, we have less of risk of conflict. We have less risk of corruption. We have less risk of policy changes. I mean, policy changes are happening everywhere. That's another thing you have to assess for your industry, because we are in an emerging market economy. Policies are changing constantly. So how do you find out if a policy change could affect your business startup or your business growth? Well, you can check again on Google. You put in the name of your industry or your business niche, and you put policy documents, agenda. And very often you see that the government are already discussing certain policies. So let me give you an example. A lot of people are interested in importing second-hand clothing. It's a good business across Africa. But guess what? In the East African region, countries have either already banned it or they're discussing the ban. Now, let's say you're then coming in with your great business idea of second-hand clothing. Maybe you have some contacts to people in the industry abroad and you want to ship that in. And 1 year later, guess what? The policy changes and it's now banned. You're going downhill straight away. You're out of business. And that happens in Africa a lot. Why? Again, because we are operating in an emerging market economy at large, and policy changes are part of the journey. And therefore, you need to be aware of the policies in your country. And you will be amazed that when you speak to business people and business leaders in a certain industry in Africa, they know exactly what the government is planning, what the government has as a new agenda. They're informed, and you have to stay informed. So it's very different from the West, where we hardly find like disruptive policy changes, and whatever we start, we can either succeed or fail. Well, in Africa, policy changes are happening, and they're a very, very big risk to your success. Therefore, be aware. Okay, so important is that you actually start assessing the risk. And most people who start in business in Africa never do that. They go in uninformed, they make emotional decisions, and they never assess the risk. And can you see how we integrated all of that in the beginning? You don't want to be assessing your risk when you're already set up. That is often too late. You want to start assessing your risk before you enter a market, before you enter an industry, before you start building your business model. Okay? So let me know in the chat box if you're following. Are you still focused? Are you taking notes? Have you switched off all distraction? All right, fantastic. Okay, excellent. Yes, I get big yeses, absolutely focused. I'm following. I have my notepad open. Love it. Okay, so let's keep going. And actually, before I go to point number 6, I want to give you again a little bit of a context of the business environment in Africa. We have a situation where we have some of the biggest startup numbers in the world. Nigeria, for example, hugely entrepreneurial. It has the biggest startup numbers across the globe. However, 80% of businesses in Nigeria fail in their first 2 years. Kenya, 75% of businesses fail in their first 3 years. This is a tragedy. What about if these businesses had succeeded? What it would have done for national development, for job creation, for poverty reduction. Unfortunately, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, dear members of Wealth First Africa, we are working against the odds. Why? Because we're going into business uninformed. All right, so I'm so glad you're here. That's where education starts. You have to self-educate so that you avoid making the mistakes and you can be among the few winners. But why we are here and really teaching on Wealth West Africa, and even individually, the great business minds that are featured on Wealth West Africa, they're sharing their lessons, they're sharing best practices, they're sharing insights. And that is something that we've been missing for so long. We have great business leaders in Africa, but most of them do not teach or educate. That's the gap. So how can we then learn the best way forward for our business in Africa? And that's why this self-education, that you're investing your time or you're investing your money, it is a crucial aspect. So you do not belong to the 80% that fail. All right, so well done for everyone who is here, and let's keep going. So point number 6, step number 6 for your business success in Africa is that you then need to choose a winning business model. Don't just come up with an idea and go for it. That is not good enough. That is not strong enough. You need to create a winning business idea. Now, a winning business idea in the context of Africa is first one that fits the national policy agenda. Each country has a national policy agenda. It has a national development agenda, I meant to say, a national development agenda. You need to be relevant. Your business, your service, your product needs to be relevant for the particular market of your choice. Just because you love something, or maybe it's somewhere out there in the West and you think you should bring it to Africa, it may or may not work. Important is that you localize what you're offering. It needs to be integrated in the national development agenda. That means it needs to be relevant for the marketplace in which you're operating. Okay. The other thing then is also that you want to choose a business model that ideally you can scale easily. Scalability is a huge contributor towards your success in Africa. So let's say you have the idea to start a tea house or a coffee shop or a restaurant. Of course, you can be a very good and dedicated chef. But very often, again, we get this idea, okay, let me start a restaurant. I would love that. Okay. Can it be very successful and profitable? Yes. But here is what you have to consider a few things. Number one, when you open a coffee shop or a restaurant, you usually have to make a lot of investment up front. There's the premises and the furniture and the machinery and the cooker and the staff. And so you have to make a considerable investment up front to build that business. You're not making any money yet, you're just putting in. Now, if you then have something like a coffee shop or a tea house, well, unfortunately, you're now waiting for people to come into your shop, your business, okay? And you hope that they will order something. Now, then they start ordering a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a cake. What are you making? $1 profit? How many people have you walk into your new place? 5, 10, 20? So the challenge with the business model like that early in the start is you made a considerable investment. However, your profit margins are quite low per product or per offering. And now you're waiting for people to come towards you so they can purchase. And very often what we see across Africa is people think, okay, I'm putting up this shop, I'm putting up this restaurant, I'm putting up this office. And then they think they're now in business and this is how they will become successful. Well, they will be very difficult. They will be very quickly disappointed. And they will, to a great extent, belong to the 80% that will fail. You have a major investment in the beginning. You have little money coming back per sale. But there's one more, touching on the scalability. Let's now say your little tea shop is successful. Now you want to scale that. What do you have to do? You have to go and open another tea shop, which requires a lot of investment again. That is not an easily scalable business model. An easily scalable business model is, for example, you came up with an IT software for small and medium-sized businesses in Uganda, and these small and medium-sized businesses are still doing their accounting per hand, and they want to apply for loans at banks, but banks do not accept the accounting in handwriting. Now you come up with a great software to meet that problem and find a solution. And possibly even in a certain industry among these small and medium-sized enterprises. Now, guess what? You are selling your software at a membership rate, you know, or a subscription rate rather, a monthly subscription rate. Yeah, you start with 2 businesses, then you scale to 10, then you scale to 100. You're improving your product, but really you're not doing a full-blown investment to start your business or to scale. You're just scaling by number. And when you have a good product, you can have 100 customers for your bookkeeping software, or you can have 1,000 customers. It doesn't matter. You're easily scaling, okay? So scalability is key for a good African business model, even especially if you can scale it across borders. Okay, that is something that is very, very important to consider. Is your business model one that you can also easily scale across borders in Africa? What else is a winning business model for Africa? A winning business model for Africa is one that meets a demand and solves a local problem. So if you want to meet a demand, or you want to solve a local problem, important then is that you do not start with yourself. You know, this is the idea I have. You know, I saw this in the United States, or I saw this, let me try it in Nigeria. Can it work? Of course it could work, but you're not sure unless you are checking with the market. It is the market who has to tell you what is needed. Or, as we see from a lot of successful African entrepreneurs, they stumbled across a problem in Africa themselves. And while 90% or 95% of us complain how difficult, how ineffective, how slow, how Africa is, there's a few percent, a tiny percent who says, wow, great. There's a great opportunity for me here to solve that problem. So next time you're annoyed by a service, by a product, by the inefficiency, because you're expecting something better or different, well, there's an opportunity right there for you. You're probably not the only one who is either annoyed or who is looking for something in the market that they cannot get. All right? In very simple terms, you can go out to the market and ask. It is very, very easy in Africa to knock doors. Very easy to knock doors. And people are happy to talk to you. right? Especially when you come from a perspective where you're not saying, I need help, but you're saying, hey, I'm looking for a solution for people like you or like your industry, your businesses. And I'm doing some market research and I would value your feedback because you're the person on the pipe and you can give me real-time feedback. So what do we do with one of my clients a month ago in Kigali? As an example, we went from restaurant to restaurant, from supermarket to supermarket. We talked to the restaurant managers, we talked to the supermarket managers, hotel managers, and we asked them, what is difficult to get for your menu? What products, we're talking agricultural produce, what products are easy to get? What products are locally available but difficult to get? Or maybe there is a gap in the supply chain. And what products can't you get at all? Just do that with 10, 15 businesses in your industry. And in our example, restaurant managers, hotel managers, supermarket managers. That is the kind of market research you want in Africa. And you will find out that most people will tell you the same thing. And so you can see a pattern. So what did we find out? We found out that fruits were much more in demand than vegetables. We found out that people were prepared to pay more for fruits than for vegetables. We found out that some fruits are available locally, but only for a few months in the year. And some fruits are coming from South Africa, and some fruits are coming from as far as I don't know, the European Union, yeah, which kind of, it's like probably importing its fruit from Ghana and then exporting it as a fruit juice back to Rwanda. However, you know, that is a whole different topic. But you will find quickly some very valuable insights. So what do you do then if you are not in Africa at the moment because you're in the diaspora? Well, again, you can find a lot of that information online. There's research documents. There's you can also reach out by telephone. You can actually make a survey and, you know, make it commit to asking so and so many people in your industry. If you are in the tourism industry, in the hotel industry, you have reviews of people who have visited the hotels. Go to the reviews that's showing you the negative. So you can see, maybe you are a trainer in customer service, you know, and you want to train hotels in Africa, or, well, not the hotels, the manager at the hotels or the staff. Now you can go to the reviews and see, okay, what's missing? What are people complaining about? So that is the kind of insights you would want from the market. Now, so much more to say. As I said, this is a rapid session, but let's move on then towards step number 7 in building a profitable African business. And that is to understand and apply the power of positioning. To understand and apply the power of positioning. How are you positioned in the market? So, for example, I'll give you a few examples. Actually, I'll share a story as well in a minute because I just love that story. And some of you have heard it before, but I'll share it anyway. So, for example, staying with the agricultural produce, because I know a lot of you are interested in agriculture. So if I say, for example, so what do you do? Oh, I'm in agriculture. You know, I have a farm. That is not powerful positioning. That is not powerful positioning. If then a potential buyer asks you, okay, so what do you offer? Oh, I offer all sorts of fruits. You know, I offer mangoes and, you know, 3 tomatoes. Guess what? 90% of people in the agricultural industry also have a farm and they're offering some kind of fruits or vegetables. You have not positioned yourself at all by just saying, what is it that you do? I have a farm, I produce vegetables. That is not powerful positioning. You have not practiced it. You probably have not understood it. You have not practiced and applied it, and therefore you cannot communicate it. You need to understand it first, the concept, and I will explain it to you in a minute. You then need to apply it, and then you need to communicate it. If you don't communicate it to your marketplace, all the work was for nothing. All right. So who are you then? You're not someone who owns a farm. You're not someone who produces mangoes or tree tomatoes. Who are you? So for example, I produce strawberries and berries. I'm the only berry producer in the country. And we are servicing the hotel and tourism industry because tourists are taking big value in healthy berries in their desserts or dishes. That is positioning. Who are you? You are the only berry producer in the country. You are serving the hotel industry. You could be producing certain fruits, but instead of just producing mangoes, you are the guy who specializes in producing the fruits that the restaurant industry needs because they cannot get it locally. You're that person. So you're positioning yourself as the go-to authority for the hotels and restaurants for their fruit demand, especially fruits that are not available locally, for example. All right, that is powerful positioning and has to be applied in any industry. What are you producing? Or what are you offering? What are you doing? I'm a tour operator in Africa. Well, guess what? There are thousands of tour operators in Africa. You're just somewhere disappearing in the masses. And that is actually one of the stories that happened in Kenya, where I met a lady. She's been in the tour business for 10 years. And guess what? She was still struggling. She said, oh, it goes very well during the high season. We have a lot of tourists and so on. This was before COVID, of course, but just to give you the concept. And then she says, but when we struggle during the low season, and then we use the profits that we make in the high season to get us through the low season. Is that a profitable, successful African business? No, it's an African business, but it's not a profitable one. She's still struggling. I think it was actually 8, 9, 10 years in, beyond 8 years. It was a long time. She should not be struggling at all. So why? She has not understood the power of positioning. So the power of positioning then is that she, for example, says, and I'm, just ahead of top of my mind now, she could, for example, say, okay, I'm the person that allows for hot balloon travels, outside of Nairobi. I'm the person that, allows for business travelers who are coming into Kenya to go on to 2-hour trips after their conference, or after their business model, so they can enjoy themselves. And so you want to position yourself in a way that when low season hits and all the tour guys who are all offering the same stuff, I don't know, safari trips and things like that, they're now competing for all the clients, and these are now fewer clients. So that's why a lot of people are then out of business or struggling during the low season. You want to be the person that is positioned so strongly that you do not notice very much if there's a high season or a low season or others are competing, because you are leading and standing out in the market with something, a niche that you have created. You will have clients throughout. That is the power of positioning. All right, so do you want another powerful story of positioning? Let me know. How are you following? Are you following? And is the power of positioning, is that a valuable insight for you? The power of positioning, is it a valuable insight for you? Okay, fantastic. All right. So we are 340 people live in the Zoom room, and we have another 300 watching live now on YouTube. Fantastic. So we're here at Wealth Fest Africa. For all of you who have joined a little bit late, we're at Wealth Fest Africa, which is a state-of-the-art online platform, to encourage you to do business and connect with each other. So, okay, so let me share the other story then, coming out of Kenya as well. And most of my stories are coming from the places I travel to a lot, so they can be applied everywhere. Don't worry about the country. Hear the message. All right, so here's a very powerful story, and some of you may have heard it. Doesn't matter. You have to hear it 11 times according to science until information becomes knowledge. What concerns us is, are you applying it? And if you say, oh yeah, I've heard that already, I know this, that's not what matters. What matters is, are you applying it? Okay, so here is the story. So I was in Kenya, for a couple of months in Nairobi, and then I was going to one of the malls, without giving you names now. I know the names, but I don't want to reveal the business in it. So I'm going to one of the malls, and I'm sitting there at News Cafe, working away. I love eating and doing my work. So I'm going regularly, and I pass each time a furniture shop. Beautiful furniture, very luxurious, beautiful furniture, and I haven't seen anything like it in Africa. So one day I walk into the shop, and there was an assistant, and she showed me around. That's when I said, yeah, really beautiful, beautiful pieces. Now, a few days later, I'm sitting again at News Cafe, working away on my laptop, and a lady approaches me, and she says, are you the one that's helping businesses? And I'm like, yeah, hi, can I sit down? I'm like, yes, please, join me. And she says, well, I'm the owner of the furniture shop next door. And she tells me that she has been opening her furniture shop 3 years ago. She was a member of the diaspora. Her dream was to go back to Kenya and do something there. So she opened the furniture shop. And 3 years later, she's sitting at my table telling me the business is struggling a lot. And she may need to close it down. Cash flow is, non-existent. And so I asked her a few questions. Okay, so have you been doing marketing? Yeah, I had these flyers. I put the name and special offers on it, and I distributed it in the neighborhood. And this is, it was a good neighborhood. So it's people who actually have houses and apartments who could afford the furniture. But she said, no one, it didn't really result in much. Now, let me tell you, this is exactly how most people approach businesses. She wanted to do something back home in Kenya. Maybe she loves beautiful furniture. She decided to buy that, to import, to open a shop. And then she thought she was in business, and that's the start of it. Well, that was the start of it, and pretty much also the end of it, sadly. So again, what was missing? Her understanding of, first of all, how to run a business, but second and more importantly, the power of positioning. She was opening a shop in a very, very traditional way, hoping now that clients would come. Similarly, as I told you with the coffee shop or the restaurant, she's sitting there hoping for people to come inside and purchase something. And that is poor positioning or no positioning at all. So what I said to her, okay, may I give you some suggestions? And she said, yes, please. That's why I approached you. And I said, look, And I opened a website that I had still open on my laptop because, a couple of weeks before I was flying into Nairobi via Lufthansa, and there I saw a magazine. And in that magazine, there was an advertisement of a beautiful, beautiful, luxurious estate, a new luxurious houses put up in Karen, which is like the high end of Nairobi. And I opened the website and I said, look at these high-end real estate developments. They're happening across Kenya, across Nairobi. Now, what you can do is you should become the authority for showrooms with your beautiful furniture, for showrooms for these real estate developments, because these real estate developer, they want to sell their apartments, they want to sell their houses, but guess what? They need a showroom. Guess what? They need amazing furniture. You know what they're doing to get the amazing furniture? The same I was told by a guy from Ghana, a real estate developer, high-end. He's flying to South Africa to get his furniture, or to Dubai. People are flying to Dubai, South Africa, or China to get the high-end luxurious furniture that they want because it's not available locally. I said, do you know how many headaches you would be solving if you would become the showroom lady for those real estate developers? And she's like, oh, wow, this sounds amazing. So where do I find them? Well, this is pretty easy. First of all, each luxurious development has a name, a billboard on it with a phone number and everything. But on top of it, there are real estate development conferences, expos. Go there. You will find all your clients under one roof. And when they purchase or rent, they don't just purchase a chair or a room, a chair or a table. They want an entire room to be furnished. And you know what the lady said? She's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I am actually an interior designer. That's why she had this love for furniture. And I'm like, you're an interior designer? She says, yes, that's what we do. We also give consultation. I'm like, here you go. You can now sell entire packages of interior design consultation, showroom consultation, and you get thousands for these packages, and not sitting in a mall waiting for some house owners to walk in to buy a sofa. That is the power of positioning. It doesn't matter which industry you are working in Africa, in the context of Africa. Do not open a shop. Do not sell a vegetable. Do not sell a house. Do not sell a tour. Who are you in the marketplace? You need to find that out. And until you have the answer to that, you're not powerfully positioned, and therefore you cannot communicate that to your marketplace, which is your potential buyers and partners. And therefore, you cannot make the deals that you want. Okay? All right, fantastic. So then the other thing is step number 8. Are we ready for step number 8? Here at Wealth Fest Africa, let me know, are you ready for step number 8? All right, fantastic, you're ready? Okay, oh yes, I hope you were born ready. Okay, fantastic, so let's go to step number 8. Step number 8 then is start small. That's it. Starting small is a success strategy in Africa, hands down. Most people do not realize that. Those of us who are broke or starting on a shoestring budget, we feel disadvantaged, or we feel like we cannot do what other people are doing. No, it's a blessing to start small. It's not a blessing to be poor and broke, but it's a blessing to start small. Is a success strategy. And I explain in a minute why. I have come across some big guys and companies during my work in Africa. You know, people, foreigners investing $1 million, $2 million into their manufacturing plant. You know, they've done their research, they've done their assessment, put in $1 million or $2 million to set up the plant, stuff. Guess what? The products were not shifting. Yeah, they didn't make their money back. Why? Because we're operating an emerging market economy at large. And things in Africa move and work very differently than they do elsewhere. And just because you have some kind of research document or agenda that this is needed in the market, or even people are saying, oh yeah, we need that. That is not a proof for the viability of your product or offer in Africa at all. And therefore, what I suggest is, no matter how much money you have, start investing, start your business small, and then grow it organically. And what it allows you to do, this is in the first few years, okay? What it allows you is to test the market in real time, to get market feedback in real time. What is it that customers like about your product or offer? Or why is something not working or selling? All right, so it's a huge problem to have done your research and you're making assumptions based on that, and you put all your eggs in one basket. No, start small. Even if you have $1 million sitting in the bank, start small. Invest 10,000. If you have $1 million, invest 10,000. Start with a lean count, start with a prototype, a small prototype. And I could share so many stories of people who have done this successfully. You know, I'm happy to share a couple of stories if you ask for it in the Q&A. But start with a prototype, test it in real time, and then amend and grow. Amend and grow. Test, amend, and grow. And always get feedback from your marketplace. Always. As I say to my academy members, and I know many of our ABBA families, these are our academy members, my inner circle of clients that I work with very closely. You know I say that all the time, but it is so important that you get feedback from the marketplace, and a no. If you get a no, don't feel disappointed or disheartened. It's a feedback from the marketplace. Go back and say, thank you very much. Could you give me feedback as to why you decided against it? All right. So we have a very vibrant Africa Business Academy. We're over 200 members. Members are dropping out for all sorts of reasons. Maybe they have done a whole year. Maybe they're struck by COVID and they have financial issues. Maybe they have moved on and they're doing something else. Maybe they decided not to do business altogether. Maybe, whatever it is, I ask, when I get a kind of notification, so-and-so canceled the subscription, I don't sit there, feel sorry about myself. My team will get in touch with them and say, it was wonderful to have you. We're sorry to see you go. Could you give me feedback as to why you're leaving? You know, and I also do surveys among my clients, at least once a year, usually twice a year, because I want to know what's working, what's not working, what are they happy with, what are the weaknesses in my product or my service, so I can improve. So that is something, if you get a no, you will get more no's in business than you will get yeses. But a no is feedback from the marketplace, very, very valuable. Go back and say, thank you, why not? Could I learn more about it so I can improve, okay? So that is also a change of attitude that will serve you very, very well. So starting small then is a good strategy for Africa. It's a success strategy. And therefore, don't feel embarrassed if you're starting on a shoestring budget because you don't have money. It's a good thing. The only thing that you do not want to do is inform the world including your strategic business partners, government offices, or other business partners that you're broke or you're starting small because you don't have money. You know, you don't want to let others know, you know, but it doesn't mean to cheat. It just means to say, I'm starting small, I'm testing the market. You know, I want to grow this organically so I can get real feedback from the marketplace. And that's how you can introduce yourself to government officials, telling them what problem you will solve in the country. And a whole different subject again. Actually, you will find if you're joining the Wealth Fest Africa today, and Dr. Jones or Dr. Beatrice and James, would you please share the link to the Wealth Fest Africa? Because if you join the Wealth Fest Africa today at 35%, by the way, I think it's the cost of a meal, the cost of a lunch. It's the cost of a lunch, and you get like 6 months access. You will also get free access to my virtual bootcamp for the first time. So free access to the virtual bootcamp if you join Wealth Fest Africa today. And Dr. Jones is sharing the link for you. It's a 35% discount, as I said. It's the cost of one lunch, a US lunch, not a Rwandan lunch, a US lunch with tip, is the cost of one lunch, and you get access to not just me and my programs and Dr. Beatrice and James programs, but also to other business leaders in Africa. They're sharing their stories, they're sharing their insights, some of them are sharing their programs, but it's a great way to connect with these business leaders, but also to connect among each other, because there is a networking platform on Wealth Fest Africa where you can connect with like-minded people. And that is priceless, because it can get very lonely in your Africa business journey. You may have family that talks you out, friends that think you're crazy or stupid to go to Africa, especially if you're in the diaspora. You may have parents, if you're an African on the continent, who rather want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or a banker than an entrepreneur. So it's good to connect with like-minded people. All right. Yes, starting small. Part of starting small, and we're at step number 8, and we have 2 more then to go. Starting small, just as a reminder, everyone here, starting small also means to focus on one market and one product only. You know, very often people are approaching me, oh, Dr. Ann, this is fantastic. I'm so glad that I found you. You know, I want to do, my plan is to start a business in Ghana and Nigeria, and, you know, eventually go into Senegal. And I want to start producing, apples and oranges and cucumber, just to summarize it. So that is not starting small. That is being all over the place and trying to do too many things in the beginning. Starting a business is complex. You need to focus and get momentum in for one market and one product. Focus on that for 1 or 2 years. And we often think that if we have only one market and one product, we do not look serious enough. You know, we look much better if we can offer several things. People would love it. They can choose. It usually works against us. Also in the market context, because as a startup, as a newcomer, you cannot possibly be on top and understand several markets and several products and several requirements. You will get overwhelmed, and your message will lack clarity. Your marketing message, your sales message will lack clarity. So therefore, it is very, very important that you actually focus one market, one product. That's it. Okay. Eventually, then, once you have a positive cash flow, you can really go into more. But that is a message I want to bring home. It's very, very important. and it doesn't serve you. And even me now, I'm now in my 6 years of business, and having worked actually in Africa for over 20 years in the Greater Horn of Africa region. But in the 6 years of business, in the first 3-4 years, I always want, let me add something cool. And I thought by adding something cool, first of all, I was like, really feeding my creativity. Oh, I have this great idea. Let me, okay, someone is sharing their screen. Okay, let me just check if I can undo this. Hold on. Okay, someone is sharing their, okay, thank you, whoever that was. Noticed, thanks. All right, so I thought, like, I am creative, I have these brilliant ideas. Oh wow, I can do this, or this is a low-hanging fruit, and all my members and clients would love something cool. And I realized it doesn't work in my favor at all, nor does it work in my favor or in the favor of my clients. And I have since decided, this was actually in 2019, or was it this year? Oh gosh, recently. Okay, it was recently. I only do 2 programs. One is my Africa Business Academy, which is like the biggest training and teaching academy online for Africans and the African diaspora at large. And the second one is my Importing from Africa program. Most of you know that I have a importing program where we teach people who are in the diaspora or friends of Africa or people who are outside of Africa how to import products from Africa that are high in demand in the West. By the way, perfect business model for those of you who do not want to relocate to Africa, or you can't at the moment. Import products that you can sell wherever you are, in New York or Dubai. So going back to finding the right business model, okay? But why I'm mentioning this is these are my 2 programs, and I have amazing ideas, brilliant ideas, and I decided to focus on the 2. I do investments, my own investments now, but that's different. I don't offer more stuff. It works against me. So narrow down. Will make you, as we said in the beginning, simplify, simplify, simplify. It will accelerate your success. All right, number 9 then. Number 9 is grow, rinse, and repeat. For the next 2, 3, 4 years, grow your business organically. That means whatever you make, don't spend it on the car or the designer bag or I don't know what else your heart desires. You need to reinvest into your business so it can become stronger. All right. So in the beginning, whatever you make, reinvest it into your business, grow, check with the marketplace, get feedback, improve and amend, and keep growing. Make sure also you get your finances right, like your accounting, that you are on track of your accounting, your expenses, and your taxes. Yeah, I fell into a tax trap in Germany. Why? Because I had informed myself and self-educated about everything, but I had not informed and self-educated about taxes. That was the stuff that was so, it didn't even occur to me. I thought, oh, you just pay taxes. But there was a lot that I should have known, especially when you're in a country like Germany, where I was based after the UK, because it has the most complex tax system in the world. Guess what? If you're not informed, you can fall into it. Luckily, I was earning so well that I was able to pay back, but that was a real risk. So grow, rinse, and repeat, and take care of your finances, especially your expenses. A mistake that I made in the beginning also was I only looked at my income. Oh, I made, another sale, and you're so happy. Or another sale, or I made this much this month. Doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you are spending, right? I just read, for example, I don't have the exact figures, but I read an article recently about Victoria Beckham, and those of you in the UK at least will know her. And Victoria Beckham with her, I mean, she's in the States, right? So she has this big fashion brand, you know, and you think she will be making millions of dollars. She is. Multi-million-dollar business. Guess what? Her expenses and losses are bigger than her income. It sounds all great. I'm making multi-million dollars. And that's, by the way, I see it a lot on people who are staying on Amazon, you know, oh, I'm on Amazon. I made 1 million on Amazon. Well, what they're not telling you is 900,000 of that is expense, you know. So this is, you know, you need to be careful to not fall into these traps, and always look at your expenses. They're more important than your income. They go hand in hand. Okay, and step number 10. Who is ready for step number 10? Who is ready for step number 10? Before we dive into Q&A, let me see who is ready for step number 10 in starting a profitable African business. All right, me, fantastic. Yes, born ready. Thank you, Andy. Fantastic. Okay, great. All right, so step number 10. Listen carefully. Switch everything off. Have you switched it? Let me check. I want to see your faces. I can't see your faces. Oh, yes, I love that focus. Fantastic. All right. Okay. All right, step number 10 then is develop a success mindset as if your life depended on it, because it does. Develop a success mindset as if your life depended on it, because it does. The quality of your life depends on it. If you will achieve your dreams or you will die with your dreams depend on it. If you will establish the lifestyle of your dreams, you know, financially free, you know, helping others in your family and community, or, you know, even some wishes that you have, if you can fulfill that or not will depend on the mindset you grow. It is one of the most important aspects. That's why I left it last. Sadly, it is one of the most disregarded ones, right? And whenever I do my survey among the Africa Business Jumpstart community, you know, I ask certain different questions. Whenever I ask something about mindset, the interest drops. Everyone wants to know about the markets and the industry and the data and what works in Africa and what doesn't, and which product and which idea. And when it comes to the mindset, the interest drops. Reality is you can have the most beautiful dream for yourself and for your family, your community. You can have the most beautiful dream for Africa. Maybe you want to change something, have an impact in the world, leave a legacy, get financial independence. You can have all that. Guess what? It will not work unless you have the mindset that will get you there. If you have the mindset that will get you to financial independence or the success on your own terms, you would already be there. Let me repeat it. If you had the mindset that was needed, you would already be there. The reason why we struggle is because we take too much attention towards the external, and we do not pay enough attention on the internal, which is us. All right? That is absolute key. You are the driver towards your success. But if the driver is not experienced enough, well, the driver can never get there. So what we then have to do is, what you need to do is to start developing your mindset so you can become the person to get there. All right. So that's what's really needed. You actually have to change yourself. And I learned it the hard way. I hit rock bottom. I said I was broken. And then I said, okay, I grew up, you know, in a beautiful family. Okay, I have peace. I'm in democracy, one of the richest countries on the globe, Germany. That's where I grew up. I'm educated, you know, got a career in the United Kingdom, you know. Wow, sounds all great. I have a PhD. I ended up broke and broken. So then I asked myself, how the hell did I get here? How the hell did I end up here? And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to actually question yourself, because we're so on autopilot, still doing the same thing day over day in, you know, day in, day out. We complain about the same things, complain about the same people. We go about our morning, our afternoon, our evening, the same day as before. Did you know that you think every day 90% of your thoughts and actions are the thoughts and actions you had the day before and the day before and the day before and the day before? And that's why you will get the same results. So if you want to change something, you need to actually start there. And you cannot get there as the person you are right now. And I believe that some of you, you know, you pretty like yourself. Great, you know, it's good. But if you have dreams, if you have goals, you need to change certain aspects in you. And for me, it was transformational change. Some of us need transformational change. We actually need to, you know, to face the music. Some of us need proper transformational change. And that means question everything you do. Question what you do. Question how you do it. Question why you do it. And once you start questioning, awareness kicks in. And that awareness allows you to slowly change your ways. Now, one thing that I've learned is how people who are broke or unhappy, how they make decisions throughout the day, and people who are successful and happy is completely different. And by the way, there are a lot of people who are successful in money, but they're still pretty unhappy. I have dedicated myself towards my growth, and it's a journey that will never end. It goes right up to the deathbed, right? But I can say at least now, I'm the most balanced and most at peace and most financially independent I've ever been in my life. So if you ask me right now what's missing, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything that's missing. I have everything, you know? And then of course you grow further. I'm sure there will come a time where I'm missing again. But that is not by coincidence. That is by putting in the work, questioning everything I do. And again, this could be a whole session on its own. It's the kind of thing that I teach also in the Africa Business Academy. Again, if you're joining the Wealth Fest Africa today, you also get a small discount in the Africa Business Academy, which is my inner circle. These are the kind of things that I teach, and we have a self-education session every week in the academy. So join the Wealth Fest Africa today. Again, for our dear organizers, please share the link. Yeah, Dr. Jones just shared it. Please click on the link, cost of a lunch. It starts right there. If you're serious on your success, well, this is the cost of a lunch. I don't know, $20, $30, something around that, okay? You know, how much is it worth for you to get successful. Even if you see all the speakers there in Wealth Fest Africa, here's the attitude that you need to adopt. Maybe you may find 90% of the speakers useless because you think you know it already. Good, right. I will doubt it. But you may find 9% useless. There will be one speaker giving you one nugget, one insight that is multiple times the wealth and value of the ticket price. That's the attitude of someone who's looking for success. And I've done that with a $10,000 ticket, by the way. I've spent $10,000. This was my first educational program. $10,000 is all I had earned in my first, this was in my first not earned, but sitting in the bank, because I had so many expenses and I made investments and things like that. And I spent it all, 10,000. Felt completely out of my comfort zone, had never spent 10,000 on a ticket, all right? This was a one-year ticket with some of the best motivated, best trainers, US American trainers, most of them, unfortunately, as we do not have many Africans. And then I attended a huge event organized by them as part of that 10,000 US ticket, and on marketing. And then a lady stood up. This was a 3-day event or 4-day event. And she stood up and she said, you know, a lot of what you're saying is not new to us. I mean, you can read everywhere about it. And I said, I was already advanced to many people in the room. And I said, oh my God, I have received some gold nuggets during this event. Forget about the rest 3 days. Those gold nuggets I'm taking away. You know, and I'm not going to say, oh, I spent $10,000 and you're teaching me stuff I already know. I have received 2-3 gold nuggets and I applied them. And guess what? That was my financial transformation. I applied them. Okay. That is how a success mindset thinks differently from a poverty mindset or a limited mindset. And I was someone with a poverty mindset. All right. So, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, dear members of Wealth Fest Africa, it's beautiful to have you here. We dive into the Q&A. For those of you on YouTube, you know, you can just watch and listen in. You know, you always need to be visible. These are the people who are part of my, my Africa Business Jumpstart online. So go to africajumpstart.com, africajumpstart.com. You can be part of our online community and also join the live Zoom out inside the Zoom room. Or these are people who have signed up to Wealth Fest Africa. And you can still sign up to Wealth Fest Africa because we will have similar training sessions, and there are also free resources that you can immediately access. So Dr. John, again, please share the link for Wealth Fest Africa. And for those of you on YouTube, I will share all the links after the live session. So just revisit YouTube, my YouTube channel, and you can see all the links after the live session. All right, so let's dive into Q&A, please. All right, who goes first? I always take people who are visible first. I always say, be visible in business. Don't hide between the masses. Among them, who is waving? Who is waving? Oh, okay, hold on. Yes, Carmel, Laura. Who else is waving? Okay, and Marquetta. I like that. 3 ladies today. All right, go ahead, please. I need to, let me say, I need to allow you to unmute yourself. Okay, go ahead, grab the microphone.
Hi, well, I guess I'll just hop in real quick. Hello, everyone.
Yes,
my name is Marquita. Please don't pay the hair any mind. So thank you first, Dr. Harnett. I just want to thank you for providing all of this information. I've been following you for a while. So, so excited and grateful that you have provided this. My question is, you mentioned about the 54 markets. One, do you have any past trainings, I guess, on YouTube that will cover it so that I know you don't have the time to do that. And the reason why I'm asking is my goal was construction and transportation until you mentioned that construction it has high corruption, I guess, involvement around it. So now it's making me shift to want to pair my other business skills with what are markets that, as you said, are high scaling. So what would you say about that? Because my ultimate goal is to, in whatever country, I want to pave roads in Africa. I want to bring my transportation business there. So, but I don't want it to be with something that has high corruption. Thank you.
All right, Marquita. All right, fantastic question. So first of all, this is generally a brilliant area to get into. You know, construction, infrastructure, development, logistics, transport. There's huge need and demand across Africa for that. Now, if you're then saying, okay, the kind of business model, first of all, not all business models around that would necessarily be high-risk business model or prone to corruption. Prone to corruption are only those business models that require, you know, when you're dependent on government officers. So, for example, you need a lot of licenses, import, export of materials, machinery. You need the construction licenses and so on, building material, things like that. But let's say you were a consultant in that industry, not prone to corruption at all. Let's say you're building a transport app in that industry, not prone to corruption at all. So first of all, even within certain industries, it depends on what kind of business model you choose. If it's a higher risk or lower risk industry, as a higher risk or lower risk business model. That's number one. Number two, Marquita, is that you can choose these higher risk industries, but operate in a low risk market. You know, go to Botswana. It is the one with the lowest corruption in the continent, followed, I think, by Rwanda. You know, so you will have probably not the issues that you would have in countries that are prone to corruption. If you really go into a high risk business model, choose a market that is low in that particular issue, if that's of concern to you. But of course, it also needs to be a fit. So you also need to see the demand and the business environment for that particular industry, okay? So you have low risk markets and low risk, high opportunity markets. Look out for the low risk, high opportunity markets. And then you can start there. Okay, who goes next, whoever I have named?
Carmel?
Yes, Carmel, go ahead.
Hello. Well, thank you very much to having me with you today. And I'm really honored to talk with everyone who's on the line too. My name is Carmel, and thank you again, Dr. Arnett. I just came back from Tanzania, the beautiful country of Tanzania, and I see they have so much beautiful opportunity over there. The people is wonderful. And also the culture is amazing, but what I can see, they have two things I'm really interesting to be involved with. First of all is the agriculture. We know that agriculture is now in the future. And we can see they have so much fruit, vegetables growing in on the trees. We just need to pick up the beautiful fruit from the...
Carmel, I love your enthusiasm.
Okay.
But we have hundreds of people on the line. Yes, please. Straight to the point. Thank you.
Okay, about agriculture, because you just mentioned about to invest small, and my vision, because they have so much fruit, we need to pick up and install. And then they said we need to have like a freezing area to be able to keep this fruit, example, like a mango, and eventually to have the mango all the year. But that's take a lot of investment. And this is, I would like to know, how you can suggest to do that. And the second question, if you don't mind, is about also the operation, the tour over there for the people in America, African America, who would like to go to Africa. If we can have established area, we can find a way to have the numbers, have the hotels everywhere to be established regarding. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Carmel. Thank you for the questions. And so first question, yes, absolutely. I mean, Africa is a huge fruit producer generally, not just Tanzania, across the continent. And so the suggestions I'm making are can be applied anywhere. Now we have two problems, and that's important to understand for the context. One problem is that we have huge wastage of fruit. So when you hear often about the shortage of certain products or food in Africa, it is not so much the shortage of production. That can also be an issue, but it's much more the lack of transportation, storage, and access to markets. And because we have a lack of transportation, storage, and access to markets, we have millions and millions of tons of fruits and food items get rotten. Okay, so there is an opportunity in here. The second problem that we then have is that we export the fruits out of Africa unprocessed, so no value is added. So let me give you an example. Ghana, one of the best fruit producers in Africa, ships out its mangoes, its pineapples, its papaya, you name it, ships it out. Now, please go to a supermarket in Accra and go to the fruit juice section. And you will find that the fruit juice comes from France, the Netherlands, the UK, Lebanon, Egypt. And maybe in between you will find one, South Africa also, and you will find maybe one coming from Ghana. So the problem with that now is that we are exporting our fruits, or all our raw materials, by the way, unprocessed. And then the Western world or the Asians are processing it, and then we're importing it, our own stuff, the fruits in a bucket at 4-5 times the price. That is what's killing Africa. So therefore, the value addition to, be it fruits or any kind of produce, is so important. And a lot of governments give a lot of attention to that. So what can we do now with fruits that are laying around? Number one, you can open solar-powered storage, cold storage, solar-powered cold storage. The solar-powered cold storage, there are models already out there. There are companies who do it, or you can do that yourself. You can purchase it already ready in Africa, or you can import it yourself, the cold stores, okay? So that is a great model, because now you can put up these cold stores around marketplaces in Africa, and it is the farmers that happily pay you to store their fruits or vegetable overnight, because the other option is to throw it away. And therefore, to pay you small money to have it stored is for them more profitable. And while you have now a storage room, and several farmers every day are storing their produce, that's how you will make the money. Now, this particular business model is perfect for people in Africa who are also not looking to make straight away thousands of money. It's maybe not thousands of dollars. It's maybe not the perfect business model to replace your income in the US. If you're looking, oh, I'm making 5,000 at the moment, I need to replace this. This is not the right business model for it. This one is the right long-term investment model. It's a brilliant long-term investment model, because you may be putting 20,000 in, or 15, let's say 15,000 for a cold store, 15,000. But we've done the calculations. You're making out of it over 100,000 in 10 years by putting the money aside. Now, look at your bank. Let's say you're putting $15,000 into your bank. Are you getting 100,000 US dollars back in 10 years? Of course not. So this is a brilliant long-term investment model with a social impact. The second one then, Carmel, is, and everyone else here, is drying, fruit drying. The drying of fruit, it can be sun-dried, or the best is, of course, at one point you have some kind of machinery to dry it. I have seen the post of someone in Rwanda who is brilliant. He's an engineer. So he used old TV dishes, and he covered them with alu foil and with sheets, roof sheets. And that's how he's drying his fruits. I love that. That is someone who's testing the market, just as I've taught you. He's not investing in importing a drying machine from China for 20, 30,000. He's taking an old dish, covering it with alu foil. He's drying his, dried tomatoes, and he's offering it in the market. That's how you start small and become successful. You test the market first before you put all your money in. So dried fruits is brilliant because there's a huge demand in the West. So as I told you, we also have our importing program. And you will find it on Africa Jumpstart as well, our importing program. So we are talking to a lot of importers, exporters, buyers. One thing you will find in the supermarkets throughout the West, dried fruits and nuts are the next big snack, the next big thing. The demand for it is growing so fast. Who has the fruits? Africa has. Does it take you a lot to dry them? No, you can start with a TV dish, satellite dish, and put alu foil. That's how you can get started. So, don't come with an excuse, I don't have money and so on. It can be done. You just need to be creative and find your way. Okay, so who's next, please?
Laura, how are you?
Yes, Laura, go ahead, please.
Greetings from Houston, Texas. And I just want to shout out the fact that I'm so glad I was at home, not traveling, doing anything, because that's how I found out about you via Christina Tegby, who is just phenomenal and just probably has blown up in America with her shea butter products. Mine is not so much a question around my two niches. I think I pretty much know what those are. However, my question is, what's that next step for someone who, I'm motivated by what I hear you say? Which program is best for me? I am probably the ideal case for starting on a shoestring budget. I do have a full-time job. So right now I want to start. I want to get into it. So which program possibly, or what programs are options for someone like me?
Right. I mean, at our end, so the inner circle of me walking with people starting their businesses. So we have weekly meetings. We're together on Facebook 24/7, and this is really me helping people to start their businesses. That's what the Africa Business Academy is about. You can get access through the Wealth West Africa with a small discount. You can get access also via my website, africajumpstart.com, and sign up to ABBA, the Academy. We are meeting tomorrow at the ABBA. We're planning our 2021 year because, again, the way how successful people are planning 2021 or the next year is very different from the masses, right? So that's one way. The other thing that I think is important, I'm just going to mute everyone, Laura and everyone, is just that you surround yourself with people in African business. And I think there's no better way to do that as we have in the Wealth Fest Africa, because you have different business people from different corners, different industries, different markets, different experiences. It's so important that you surround yourself with these kind of people, because those are the ones that keep you focused on and in context. Everyone else will pull you out of context. The news will pull you out. Your parents, pull you out. Your best friend crying will pull you out, or your own troubles and worries will pull you out. I think one of the biggest struggles is to stay focused and to stay consistent. And what these kind of programs do is they allow you to have that consistency and that focus among a group of like-minded people. And I always say it hands down. My first program I joined was $1,000 online. I never talked to the lady. She just put out some videos, on how to sell. She was like the sales queen of the United States or something. Again, $1,000. I never saw her, never met a community, got still a lot of gems out of her training. If you see me sell on stage successfully, it's because I learned how to sell on stage through that $1,000 investment. Was that worth my investment? Oh, multiple times. I've sold 10,000 off stage now. If you think, is it worth to join here with $30, Wealth Fest Africa? Yes, again, because you will learn from others. My program as well, my program is a little bit on, it's Africa Business Academy. I mean, check it out. It's $97 a month. I know that is a lot for a lot of people, almost $100 every month. But what else are we spending it on? The much bigger risk is to not have your dream come into fruition at all. That is a much bigger risk in life, to stay where you are, or to belong to the 80% that fail, because they have never taught how to do business. So I always say one big part of me, Laura and everyone else, was I heavily invested in my self-education. And I think this year is the first year I just focused on my business and moving here. This is the first year where I have not spent on my self-education in terms of spent money. 2018 and 19, for those 2 years, I spent $60,000 US. 60,000 US dollars for my training and self-education, to be trained by some of the best. And that's what allowed me to be where I am today. I could not have figured it out myself. If you want a driving license, you get an instructor. You pay him $1,000, $2,000, because you want him to teach you how to drive. But if we want to start a business, and then in the context of Africa, an emerging market economy, we think suddenly, oh, I'll figure this out myself. Well, you can figure it out yourself. I figured it out for the first 2 years, 3 years. It could have been much faster, You can, but there's a lot of risk involved. So, get an instructor, get a trainer, follow successful people who already have success in Africa. That's what I did. In the beginning, I followed American, hands down. These are the people who sell the books, who have the trainings, It's a lot of Americans. Unfortunately, we didn't have the Africans when I started, or I couldn't find any 6 years ago when I started. Actually, my journey started 8 years ago with the awareness. So I followed these successful people, and I copied what they did. I copied it. I didn't even question a lot of things. They meditated, I started meditating, because they're all doing it. There was a pattern. They meditated, I started meditating. I remember I felt pretty funny. Never done something like that in my life. They have a morning routine, a very strict morning routine that doesn't involve social media, mobile phones, TV. They have a very strict morning routine. I copied the morning routine. They have a productivity chart. I copied the productivity chart. They have a way how to set goals. I copied that. They have a way what they have for breakfast. I copied that, So I was able to transform, because at the beginning, even though I did not understand why it may be important, I understood later on. And I said, okay, these people are doing things differently. Let me just copy that. 99% are getting out of bed, checking their mobile phones, getting a cup of coffee, because we think we can't operate with that. and then we go to work and we're maybe miserable or something like that, and then we go to bed watching TV or more social media or so on. I mean, I know a lot of you are also you know, already advanced in their personal development, but I think what it takes is to be inspired, and that's how I still operate. Sometimes I feel down, sometimes I don't have motivation. I look out to the people that motivate me, you know, people who have achieved something. And yeah, so that is the context to be in. I hope that was helpful. Who goes next? And let me actually, yeah, it's africajumpstart.com, if africajumpstart.com. Who goes next, please? All right, let me see.
Hello.
The ones who are visible. Hamad. Yes, please. Who is this?
Opelo.
Yeah, Opelo. Okay. Hamad, Opelo, and is it? Okay. Yeah, is it Jasmine Bowl? Half of your name is covered. Okay, fantastic. All right, go ahead, please.
Hello. Thank you very much, Dr. Hannett. It's a privilege to be talking to you live. I just want to find out the difference between Africa Jumpstart Academy and the one that you did, I think it was a week ago, that talks about 5 steps of importing and exporting. The question is, if you get one of them, are you able to access the other, or if you pay for one, you get one?
For me, always, if you're one of my member, you get a huge discount on the other program. So either way, you get a discount. I only have those 2 programs. Academy is start any business, be it in tech, agriculture, IT, tourism, real estate. This is the Africa Business Academy. The Importing from Africa program is if you want to import products from Africa, agribusiness products that are high in demand wherever you are based. So you become an importer or distributor. So this is a very specific business model.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but if you're interested, also email me, harnet@ or info@africajumpstart.com.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your question, Opelo. Okay, I think Hamad, and then Ms. Bo, go ahead. Take your microphones. Whoever goes first in business.
Hiya, how are you doing? You all right?
Yes, fine, thank you. Go ahead.
I came across you by accident, actually. I was looking, we're into fishing, so I was looking on YouTube for marine engines, and then one of your talks came up, and I just clicked on it, and I'm really grateful I did, actually. That's my first time engaged in one of these debates.
Fantastic, welcome.
We set up a fishing company, and I'm also from the Horn of Africa. I'm from Somalia, and we set up a fishing company. We thank to God, we've done a second boat up to date. It's just a startup. It's been going on for 4 months now, but we're mainly concentrating on China and Middle East. And I was thinking to myself, how come we're avoiding the rest of Africa? Why are we not trying to export into other parts of Africa? But then I find it quite difficult to, I'm based in the UK, but my brother is there and some other members of the family in America. We're all in financing, and whatever engines are needed, whatever is needed from here, we basically supply to them to there. But we find in the logistics difficulty to find companies that can do logistics within Africa, and also the market, how to penetrate that market.
All right.
So that's my 2 main questions. We're finding a lot of it is going to Yemen, to Oman, to China, but
okay. So Ahmed, thank you. And I'm sorry, I really don't want to be rude, but with so many people. So I got your question. So Ahmed, first of all, well done for starting, you know, and then of course Somalia has amazing shores, you know, fishing is brilliant. So what I usually say, actually, quick question: are you also supplying to the local market, or you only so far internationally? Quick question.
We don't eat fish. We are into meat. We're not fish eaters, unfortunately. We have the longest coast, but we love meat. So Somalis don't like fish much. Only if you
interesting.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I think I can relate to that with our country. Although the people on the coast eat fish, but not in the highlands. Okay. So Hamad, Here's what I would say. Generally, for those of you who are producing something for export, generally, actually, the best route to go, let me give you a few thoughts. The best route to go is to first sell locally, then regionally, then internationally. The reason being, usually you do not have the quality or the quantity in the beginning required for international export. So if you are aiming for international export, there can be a lot of challenges there because you do not have the quantities or the qualities that would be required from some of the international traders. So usually whatever you start, it is good if you find a local market, a regional market, and then the international market later. It is the natural path, but also it is a risk reduction strategy because something can happen and you cannot export internationally anymore, for example. Well, guess what? Now you have the regional market. Or something happens and you cannot export regionally or sell locally for whatever reason. You then have the international market. So it's also a risk reduction strategy. For you, I would say focus on the East African community, the East African community. However, of course, Kenya and Tanzania have pretty much a coast, of themselves. I think there is still some lack in fish supply in a lot of these countries, but you can focus on Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC. So especially the Congo is very interesting because the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, is one of the largest populations on the continent, but they hardly produce anything. And therefore, a lot of the stuff that is produced in Uganda and Rwanda in the East African community actually goes straight to Congo because there's such a huge demand out there. And then, of course, it's also important that you preserve your fish. I don't know, you want to maybe dry it or something like that. But I would look at Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC. And once you're finding, traders in Rwanda, that is usually your gateway to the DRC. So that's the market I would look at. Okay, fantastic. Who goes next? And then if you, Hamad, if people in Somalia Somalia is a different market. Therefore, I have not made the suggestion that I would have made if you were saying, oh, I'm doing fishing or fish farming in Nigeria or Ghana or something. If you were in another country where people consume a lot of fish and also, it's a very fast emerging market. Somalia is not a fast emerging market in terms of the development stage. But in other countries, if you are interested, there's something like fish fingers. We call it fish fingers in British English. American English is fish sticks. Basically processed fish, in terms of what the people from the upper classes or the expats, the foreigners want to eat. There's nothing there. I've looked into the freezers of Accra. I've looked into the freezers of Kigali. Kenya is a little bit more advanced in this regard. There's a huge lack. And it's very easy to process fish into fish burgers or fish fingers, fish sticks. There's a huge opportunity in that regard as well, but it would not be inside Somalia, I think, and therefore that one is maybe for another market. All right, so who goes next, please? I think it was Miss Bo.
So Harnett, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your information. I've been watching you for like the last year, and I am interested in knowing how your spin or your take on digital farming, because I've been coming across, I'm interested in agriculture and I don't really have a background in that. I do have a background in food. But lately I've been coming across several organizations that do digital farming, like Crop Estate, and there's a couple of others. So I wanted to know what your spin on that is.
All right. So, Jasmine, if you say like digital farming, you mean like a digital crowd platform, or
Yes,
if you
yes, you invest in plots or you invest in a specific crop, and you know, they give you a harvest time, you know, what
yes.
you would
Okay.
anticipate. Yeah.
All right. So there's two ways to go about it. One is to become an investor and find a good platform and invest into that. The other one is to be the owner of such a platform, to actually develop a platform or investment platform or an app, and then to invite others to do it. What I would say is, number one, generally, I think it's a very good business model in terms, or investment model, in terms of making an impact, in terms of investing into relevant industries in Africa. You know, most of these platforms take on smaller investments. So it's not for a large investment, and therefore, if you make small investments, also your return would be small. So naturally. So what I would say is the approach to take is, if you are taking this as an investor, is to see it as a bank account. Just similar, like I said, with the cold hubs farm. So for longer term investment, so you're making a return and then you're reinvesting it into the platform. So that way, if you're putting in 2,000, 5,000, you're making a much higher return on your money over 5 to 10 years than you would make with a traditional bank account, plus you're making an income. So an impact, I wanted to say. So that is one strategy, I think, as a long-term investor. The other, of course, is much more powerful, is that you build and own the platform. And that, of course, requires for you to be on the ground or to have partners on the ground, because you will need to assess businesses that can become part of the platform so others can invest into it. So it really depends what you want to achieve with it. And I think that would require, you know, the strategy you take in the end. In general, what I want to share with all of you, if you want to accumulate wealth, the biggest chunk out of that, I will mute everyone, the biggest chunk out of that will come from your business. All right? Unless you're the lucky one and you're investing 20,000 in a startup called Airbnb, and then 10 years later, you're making out millions. Those are stories that rarely happen, okay? Most of us also do not have 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 to invest. Most of us are starting with a shoestring budget. Now, whenever you start with a shoestring budget, a small budget, be aware that when you invest that, the returns will be small, but can accumulate over the years. But it will not serve you to achieve financial freedom. It won't. So if you then want to achieve financial freedom, you know, because you don't like your job and you want to transform your life, then you're better off starting to invest that shoestring budget into the startup of a business that you can grow organically. That can make you a lot of money over short time. So it depends on what your goal is in your strategy, you know, and that's how I would apply the money. I hope that was helpful. But generally, yes, these are great platforms.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we'll take maybe 3 or 4 more. 3 or 4 more. Let's see who is waving into the camera. Who wants to ask another question? Yeah, Deka Abdi, and then Kakwamba, and all right, and then maybe Loli and Teresia. Okay, I mentioned 4. All right, so please take your microphones.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hello,
Yes,
Dr.
Deka.
Harnett. Thank you so much for your insights. I really learned a lot from you so far. I want to buy the course, one of the courses. I'm based in the UK, but I don't know which one. I am into skincare, and I want to relocate to Kenya next year. I know you've got a lot of experience in Kenya, and mentioning your step 7, understanding and applying the power of positioning. I don't want to come into a market where it is already saturated, especially with skincare or organic skincare. So I want to ask you first one, how I can position myself in Kenya, or whether you know it is saturated or not. And the second one is, should I choose your program? Which one?
All right,
The
thank you,
export-
Deka. And I was
export, yeah.
sorry, I'm muting. Sorry, I'm muting. There was someone else tuning in. I couldn't find the person, so I'm muting. If you want to add something, unmute. But yeah, I think I've got your question. So thank you for that. So again, everyone, you can get access to both the Academy and the importing program via my website, africajumpstart.com. And also you can get it on a coupon, with a coupon via the Wealth Fest Africa. Okay, so there's 2 avenues to get it. If you join the Wealth Fest Africa today, or you have joined it already, I have like a booth inside. We haven't really finalized the links, I think, which is pretty bad, but that's my bad because you know, I didn't know how to really properly set this up. If you have any struggles, email me or go on africajumpstart.com. And usually we make it easier to access my programs, but today I came within the Wealth Fest Africa context, and therefore I'm pushing that one forward. So I would say, Deka, absolutely, if you want to produce skincare, is the Africa Business Academy to join my inner circle as to how to start your own business. The importing from Africa program is only if you want to become an importer, okay, or a distributor or an agent, import agent. So when it comes to the market, yes, of course, Kenya is more competitive, you know, but it is also a fantastic market because you have a very readily source of buyers there. So it is a large market, it's a vibrant market. And I think for you to produce skincare, I think Kenya is a great market. It also has a lot of natural resources in terms of ingredients that could go into your skincare. Some other items you may not get from there, you can easily import it from Uganda or Tanzania. So it's a great market. Important now, as you said, is that you're not just offering cream or skincare. How do you position yourself? And you know, there are several ways. Someone mentioned earlier on, it was Laura, I think, mentioned Christina Tegba. She used to be one of my clients, and she has her skincare brand, 54 Thrones. But she is selling high end. So her positioning was the African skincare products for women who love luxury, you know. And so I would argue inside is pretty much the same shea butter. I mean, of course, there's some differences in the quality of shea butter, but at the end, shea butter is shea butter. There's not so much you can you know, play around with. But she managed to sell it at 5-10 times the price that others would, because she's going for the luxurious brand. That's her positioning, and that's what makes her stand out. You could position yourself as someone who, you know, I see a lot of African women also here in Rwanda who have skincare problems. You know, they actually have a lot of issues with their skin. And of course, that is a holistic approach. It usually also has something to do with your food and your lifestyle and everything. But nevertheless, you could position yourself around that. So for example, acne, you know, what ingredients are there to treat acne or skin inconsistency, and then you sell that. So instead of just saying skincare, you're saying we help you with your insecurities of a skin that is suffering from acne, and you can become the go-to person for acne cream in Kenya. That is how you need to think outside the box. Otherwise, you will just be one among many, and you will disappear in the, you know, among the competitors who are years ahead of you. So that's the way to go, Ndeka. And yeah, we will welcome you at the Africa Business Academy, and that's what we're working toward. Okay, so who goes next? All the people I've mentioned. Yes, please grab the microphone. And also, Dr. Jones, would you share again the, or Dr. Beatrice, the link for WealthFest Africa? Oh yeah, we have it here already. Oh, fantastic. Join WealthFest Africa. You can see the link in the chat room. If you're on the YouTube channel, I will share the link after the live session. Okay, so come back to the YouTube channel. And again, WealthFest Africa brings together a lot of African business leaders. I'm one among many, and also other people who are not Africans, but who have started successful businesses in Africa. And it's about learning from them and then networking among each other so that we can, you know, progress and find progress among each other. So it's the cost of a lunch. And I have a booth there as well, but there's a few links missing. So if you have any issues, email me on Harnet or info@africajumpstart.com, or go to my website, africajumpstart.com. Okay, who goes next? The people I mentioned. Go ahead.
Yes, please. Hello,
Yes,
Dr. Harnet.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Lynn.
Yes,
Jay.
hi. Yes, I have been dealing in the coffee for a little while, and I wanted to find out how to link with you. I know you mentioned in the previous webinar, Zoom webinar, that you are doing coffee with some other participants in your boot camp. And so I wanted to find out the way forward as far as how I could get involved with that.
Is it the trade of coffee? You want to start trading coffee, or you want to start your own coffee brand?
I've been trading coffee. I've been exporting it.
Right. From where are you based?
I am based in Ghana, but I export Ugandan coffee.
Okay, all right. So what you can do is, in that case, you can contact my team, info@africajumpstart, and we can see if we can get you onto our marketplace. We have a unique trading platform for agribusiness product that we have created, and you can possibly get the coffee onto the trading platform, so for others to buy it. But we have some preconditions. Okay. And you can check with our team. Would that be a way forward, Lodi?
Sure. Yes, please. Thank you. And what is the link? Can you tell me again?
Just email my team, info@africajumpstart.com.
Okay.
They will share the link to the trading platform. And the trading platform at the moment is only accessible for importers. We haven't made it for our importers, our clients. If you join the importing program, you also get automatically access to the trading platform. We haven't made the trading platform public yet. We'll make it public in the coming year. And the reason is, again, because we're starting small. We've been testing the market, suppliers, importers, working on the back end. So before we roll it out and expand it, we want to make sure it works. And that's what we're on. And it does work. We are meeting with suppliers. Actually, we met suppliers from Kenya, Tanzania, Tunisia, I was meant to say. And these suppliers are selling. They're selling their oils, their skincare products, and so on through our trading platform. So I'll share it with you in the coming year. All right.
Do you know if you have people? Do you know if you have Ugandan coffee on your?
Have.
You do. Okay.
We
great.
have. Yeah, we have.
Okay.
We have 1 or 2 from Uganda. Coffee suppliers.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Okay, and I think we had 2 more. Okay, Babazi, you're sharing your screen, Babazi. Please stop the sharing. All right, so 2 more questions. Thank you. 2 more questions. Okay, Eric, Theresia, and whoever I mentioned, and then we'll wrap up. This is your last chance.
Okay, can I go?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Dr. Hannett. Thank you for this wonderful session. My question is, I have an export consultancy business in South Africa. So I want to know about your export program that I would like to join. Because
fantastic. So export consultancy business. Sorry to interrupt. So you're consulting exporters?
What I do currently in South Africa, I am training small, medium enterprises, that is small businesses, and teaching them about exports. We are looking on to getting buyers for them from abroad, because what happens, because of the red tape, there's too much red tape on the government, and they don't get too much assistance from the government. So we have that program. We want to do exports for their manufactured goods. I would also want to go into Africa doing the same business. So that's why I want to join the program.
Yes, I think, yes, thank you for that. And I think the best way forward would be to join the program and then to just reach out to the people yourself, to the suppliers that we have and so on. The reason being is that I usually do not make referrals to clients that we have, because unless I know the person and the business very well that I refer to. So the best is if you're part of the program, you're part of that community, and you can feel free to reach out to people to see if you can offer you consultation. Yeah. So feel free to join the importing program, and we have made monthly payments available as well. It was always a yearly payment, but we've made monthly payments available since COVID. So it's like $89 per month for 6 months, and you have lifetime access to the importing program and to our suppliers as well. Lifetime access. That's at $89 per month for 6 months, payment for 6 months, and then you have lifetime access to the importing program. And again, you will find the importing program in WealthFest Africa or on my website, harnett@africajumpstart. No, my website, africajumpstart.com. Okay, fantastic. So Eric, last one. Eric, last one, if you're raising your hand.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Hannett, thank you so much for this. And thank you to everyone that is into the organizing WealthFest Africa. I really, really love it. I just want to add, affirm one thing that you said, Dr. Hannett, and I am based in Canada. I am originally from Ghana. I went back a couple of years ago, started something, failed miserably, came back, prepared very well. Well, no, I can't say very well, but prepared. And that's how I stumbled upon your boot camp, which I took, and also part of the importing and exporting program. I want to say to everyone on here, Dr. Hannett mentioned it, is that self-education is the best education. And I think sometimes we hesitate in putting money to some of these things, but now I don't hesitate at all. My question has to do with when somebody has gone into isolation, what are some of the key things they look for and come back and go back at it and not stay down too long?
Okay, so the isolation phase, what would it look like? Is that what you mean?
Yes, and when to come out of it and move forward.
Interesting question. So First of all, all of it, again, starts with a decision, Eric and everyone. It is I would say, a sign of commitment. How committed are you? And very often we say, oh, I'm at a full-time job, I don't have enough time, I have kids, I don't have enough time. We find basically excuses. Because if you have decided that you will get there no matter what, you will find ways to get there no matter what. So at my end, what really helped me was I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have a plan B. I was determined to get where I wanted to be. And so then I looked at, okay, what needs to happen in order to get me there? And in order to get me there, one was because I had small children to take care of, and you have lack of time, you actually need to, put an X on a lot of other things that waste your time, that will not get you towards your goal. And that decision you need to make, very clearly to yourself. If you're just saying, oh, okay, I'll work more on it, that's not helpful. You have to make a very clear decision of what you will do and what you will not do. That's one thing. The other part of isolation is then, okay, so what else do I need to work on that got in my way in the past? So for me, for example, I suddenly realized I had a poverty mindset. So how can I get to financial independence and running a successful business with a poverty mindset? That's why I had been broke most of my life, although I had been working so hard. And it's not because I'm a spender. There were other, patterns, unhealthy patterns that came into play. So you have to kind of really be very honest with yourself. And you can only be honest with yourself when you make a clear decision, number one, but then also take time to be honest with yourself. And when you have too much noise, you can't hear that voice. First, there's an internal voice. There's an internal voice of your dreams, your potential, what you really want to do in life. If you hadn't had family or partner or circumstances preventing you from it. So it's about making time for yourself, to really listen to what you want, to write that down, to revisit, to make that plan clearer and clearer so it can, come to fruition. But then also, okay, what is preventing me from it? Okay, lack of time. Okay, so what do I cut down? What else is preventing me from it? Okay, poverty mindset. So what do I have then to change in myself? And you need to start working on that. And you need consistency to make that happen. I had times, I will tell you guys, I had times where I had put notes of money next to my bed and I was smelling the money, because someone said, if you have a negative attitude towards money, you better change your relationship with money. And he suggested that would be a good exercise. Again, I didn't question it. No one saw me. Now that I'm financially independent, I can let you know. I had these notes of money next to my bed, smelling it, playing around with it, so that I can change my relationship with money, because I had a very negative relationship with money. So it's about self-observation. It's about quietness. And so this is how isolation serves you. You keep out the noise. And I always say, I even gave my parents time to call. They could call me between 5 and 7 p.m. Before that, I was working on my business. After 7 p.m. was bedtime for my children. And after that was my self-education. So I didn't have time for just phone calls. I actually taught the people around me what my priorities are. And if someone calls, they knew my call would last 2 to 5 minutes. So it also helps to let people know that this has nothing to do with them, but this is the time you require to yourself. And when do you know to come out to it? I think you come out to it when you will notice, Eric and everyone, you will notice when there's a relief. Wow, I have achieved. there's a relief of, there is a, you know, you feel that sense of achievement and that sense of growth where you have reached. And so I came out of my shell a little more, I could make time now for a phone call that lasted an hour with my best friend. I could make time now for, you know, just sitting there and watching something funny. So it will be gradually, but it's the inside that tells you, but you can only hear it when you keep out the noise. I think that is the essence, or the you know, the lesson here. We have too much noise in our life, all of us, and the noise comes in different forms. Maybe just lastly, one of my key lessons for this, not lessons, values for this year is minimize. We have so much noise, so much stuff. My God, we have. And if you invite my best friend, she would tell you, I don't have anything in my house. Maybe she has 10 times more, but I still have so much stuff. I noticed moving here. Now I moved with 10 boxes. That's not a lot. It's my entire household. I moved with 10 boxes. Guess what? I arrived in Kigali and I noticed I don't even need half of those boxes. I only need 3 or 4 of them. Why did I bring 10? That is the kind of simplifying your life, and then you can see things that really count. You know, make this, I don't know, for those of you who are celebrating maybe Christmas at the end of the year, or just generally we're buying more stuff and more presents and more, that doesn't get you to your goals at all. So simplifying, I think, simplifying your business model, simplifying your engagement, simplifying stuff, that will make it much easier to get where you want to be. And I'm just wearing the same kind of clothes over and over again, you know. That's why we have a washing machine. I don't need most of the clothes I have. That's what I realized. Why do I have so much clothes? And let me tell you, I have probably 10% of what most women have. So anyway, that's just a last point here. So dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, dear members of Wealth Fest Africa, it was a true pleasure.
Do you have room for one more question?
Oh, Teresa, were you in the queue? Oh
yes,
yeah, I mentioned you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I mentioned Teresa. Otherwise, I would have said, if you're not among the first in business, don't be among the last and then complain about losing out. No, Teresa, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Teresa.
So I'm based on the US, and I'm originally from Kenya.
I mentioned Teresa. Go ahead.
And I would like to be able to move back to Kenya. But before I do that, I'm hoping that I can build some passive income. And my idea is, here at the US, I work at a health food store, and I have seen how effective some of the natural products can actually help people with things like high blood pressure, diabetes.
Teresa, since we are at the end of the session, question and I'll answer.
Okay.
Fast.
So my question is, what country in in Africa would embrace the holistic lifestyle, supplements and herbs and those kind of things?
Well, since you are from Kenya, Kenya is a brilliant market for that, in my view. Again, some of us are lucky to call home a country that is a good market for your business model. Not all of us have the luck of calling home a good market for our business. But Kenya is a brilliant market for health supplements and health food stores. So if you're looking to kind of have a passive income stream, so what I would do is tap into other people's products. So there are people who are already producing that. And you can be the one who is putting a platform together. It could be like an e-commerce platform, or it could be like a warehouse in Nairobi that does home shipments, you know. So about you accumulating the products that are already there, and then you have a team that is sending them out via online shipments or in Nairobi via local transport. And that's how you can create a beautiful kind of almost passive income stream at one point if you have a team, because you're not investing yourself in the products and so on, and you can actually have a third partner of a transport agency. So you are using other businesses and you're the one aggregating that. That's the business model I would use around that. Okay, I hope that was helpful in the very end. All right, so yes, I hope, can you see me, Kwakamba, can you see me on speaker's view? Fantastic, thank you so much, because I can't see everyone. So again, thank you so much everyone for attending this live session. It was the final keynote session of Wealth Fest Africa. You will find again the link to Wealth Fest Africa in the chat box here. Dr. Jones is sharing this with you. By getting your ticket for the price of a lunch, you will have access to a range of Africa business leaders, and you will have access over several months, up to 6 months, the organizers are telling me, to these kind of insights. That is a first investment you should make at the price of a lunch. For those of you who really want to dig deeper, you can also join one of my programs, either the Africa Business Academy or the importing program if you want to become an importer or an agent. These are two different programs that I have. Again, you can find the links in the Wealth Fest Africa, or you go to my website, africajumpstart.com. But what I really want to say is, first of all, thank you so much to the organizers of Wealth Fest Africa. They had a vision, you know, a vision of preparing a state-of-the-art platform where people like us can come together, we can connect, we can learn from each other best practices, and we can grow with each other. And that is such a valuable platform that even if you don't want to become part of it, buy the ticket anyway, so that the organizers can, you know, they had a lot of expenses in time and in money to put such a high-end technology out there, and they did it as a service to Africa. So I also want to recognize that that a lot of people are putting a lot in to serve the continent and to serve communities across the continent. So dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, dear members of Wealth Fest Africa, it was an honor to be with you. I want to say in the end that we only have this one life to live, and we don't really know how long we are staying on this planet, you know. It is so crucial, I believe, that we live the life of our dreams, that we live the life to our full potential. Most of us are playing it small. And that is, even I'm challenging myself each time. I have reached here now I'm like, gosh, you're playing it small. You should go bigger, you can make more impact. And that is a challenge we all should face, you know. And instead of just going day by day with what we are used to, let's hold, let's stop, let's listen to what we really want and how we can make a difference. I think the world, and Africa in particular, really needs people who make a positive difference. It is full of people who do not care unless it's for their own advantage. And so let's take this upon us. A new year is around the corner, and we can, you know, start a new path in the new year. And that is your opportunity to do it. Stay among like-minded people, and above all, as I said, make an unapologetic decision to change yourself so you can change your outcome. All right. So, dear everyone, thank you so much. I'm going to unmute you and we're going to shout our goodbyes. All right. Unmute yourselves. I can't unmute you for some reason. Unmute yourselves and goodbye, everyone, wherever in the world you are. Stay
Goodbye.
safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Great day.
Bye. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Bye.
Lovely.
Bye.
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 Everyone.